Hi, I'm Candace Gourdain, and this is Pilates for, and that means we're going to take in oxygen and we're going to make a caloric result. We're going to burn some things. So let's start out, inhale up and exhale back down. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. So just begin to become aware of what you're feeling. Energy is this electricity of us burning sugar and oxygen and powerfully creating something in the cells. Whatever your cell does, some cells do things like move. So we have these 650 muscles. So let's take advantage and move the muscles around. They burn the most calories. Actually, a close second would be your brain. Your brain burns a lot of calories. 2 more times. But that's okay. For this 40 minutes that we're here, just kind of stay inside the muscle and the mind. This time, reach up and over. Let's leave the arms closed for today. Inhale up, exhale up and over. I want you to feel like you're scooping everything up and then leaning it and reaching it up and over. So inhale, scoop everything in and up. Exhale, reach it up and over. 2 more times. We're going to work on getting that nervous system connected to the muscles so that we're in one of the phases. Let's come up over to one side. Let the arm down and gently circle this arm around. The phases of training are that you build. So you're actually creating more tissue. You build. You actually put resistance on the muscle. Go the other way with the arm. And then you train that muscle. You tell the muscle what it is it should be doing. So if your job is to make circles with your arms, you're training your arms to do that now. Take the arm overhead and just lean a little bit further. Get into the stretch on the side of the ribs. The third thing to do is then to lean out so that you don't need a lot of extra stuff. So it's kind of like you gathered all your materials, you made the thing you were going to create, and then you put your tools away. You don't need everything that you take in. You have to get rid of some of it. Inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, lean over, bring one hand to the floor. Do lean over a bit, but now begin circling the arm and the shoulder around. Then the fourth phase for training is rest and recovery. That the body has to find a new way of being together with itself. Those new materials and those new skills have to be integrated. We do kind of all of that in one exercise session here, but in actuality, it takes weeks. Let's go the other way. It may take 4 weeks just to build the muscle and the tissue and gather all your material. It may take 4 to 6 weeks to get the skills that you're trying to learn. Like again, if your job is to circle your arm around. And then it may take a couple of weeks to lean out. Take the arm up and over and hold. Lean a little bit further over. And then it may take a couple of weeks just to rest and recover. It's really quite often, you may not realize it, that you're overtraining. You're actually doing too much. We always think, oh, do more, do more, do more. But the body needs that rest period too. Again, we're going to do all those parts in one workout, but it actually takes weeks and weeks, about 6 weeks to go through one of those cycles. Come up, stretch the arms out, and then exhale, just turn. Inhale back to center and turn the other way. So we're just getting energy into the belly and then churning that energy around into the belly. Exhale. So everything that we're doing here should be functional, because I want you to be able to take these movements and then use them in everyday real life. I went outside to weed yesterday. You know, we're all familiar with that. You start in one little patch. Before you know it, you're exhausted, you can't do any more, and you haven't even gotten where you plan to be. So everything should be functional. I should be able to get down to the ground and back up. I should be able to rotate my spine while breathing. 3, as you're pulling the belly in. We breathe out through the mouth. 2, and 1. Let's come around to child's pose, and we're going to flip around a few times, because I just reminded myself that once you start doing functional things, right, you get up to go do one thing, and then you start, picking things up, and you start cleaning and all the things you do to tidy up a place. Before you know it, your body is under stress. And you forgot to take that little 2-minute breather. So I want to remind you of those cycles or circles, and each one of those is as important, and each one of those readies you or prepares you for the next cycle. So just like you slept, I hope, last night, and that prepared you to get up, I hope, and then get started, but that prepared you to do something, I don't know, smart later in the day, right? Because you had all your stuff around, and that prepared you to be, creative later in the day. Maybe, you create something or you're doing some recreation, and that prepares you to be sleepy again. So each part is important. Let's come up into hands and knees and just go through cat, rounding the spine, and cow, extending the spine. So make sure you're flipping the feet, the toes, and the soles of the feet face up, and then they face out, alternately moving up and through the spine. So now begin to collect. So we did a little bit of just warm up. Really what we were doing is collecting energy. Energy is what? Energy is breath. Energy is food. I hope you already did that part by yourself. You already collected and ate the food. And now we're warming up and we're starting getting the chemistry ready. We're going to build by strengthening the muscles in a moment. And then we're going to lean out by making long, lean muscles. So practice now that Pilates scoop. So come to a flat spine. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, scoop the belly inward, upward. Now, most of Pilates is refining the energy. That we're not just moving and bulking up. Most of Pilates is in that phase where I said you're leaning out while you're training. It's like those two phases. You're training muscle you already have, and you're leaning out. So now lengthen from the tail to the head. Like you're pushing the tailbone back and you're bringing the crown of the head further forward. And now bring one hand to the center, one hand to the low back. Inhale. Now as you exhale, scoop the belly and twist the chest open. Inhale. And exhale, release. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, elongate the spine. Exhale, scoop the belly, turn the spine. So we've already done quite a bit of twisting. What twisting does is it generates, it's like our bodies are one of those auto generators, those things that regenerate themselves and then come down. Bring the hands to the low back. Exhale, turn and twist open while elongating like a telescope through the spine. Inhale. And then unwind. One more time. Inhale, grow longer. Exhale, twist and turn open. Another breath here. Remember, we're generating more and more energy, and we do that by chemistry. And then release. So take a moment to walk around and sit on the hips again. I want you to take whatever thing you have. So you have something around you. You either have a ball, you could even have a dumbbell. I didn't bring mine out. You might have a ring. If you have a ring, you might as well use it. But if you don't have any of those, you probably have a block, and put that between your hands. So we'll start out with that thing between the hands. Inhale, reach forward, even if it's a dumbbell. Exhale, scoop and round. If it's a ring, squeeze that thing, if it's a ball or a ring. Inhale, lift up and forward. Exhale, squeeze and scoop. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, collect and squeeze. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, collect and squeeze. Inhale through the nose. You remember this. Exhale, blow out through the mouth. Every movement is functional. So we're reaching for the top of that cabinet and then we're pulling. So if you have to lift something heavy, I want you to remember that you have to pull that thing in, right up next to you. Don't try lifting something heavy that's far and away from you. Squeeze and collect all your energies into what Joseph Pilates called the powerhouse, the center of the body, where energy is actually generated and transmitted. 2 more times. So all the forces of the body have to go through the center of the body. Now hold back, but this time, little squeezes. If you have the block or if you have the ring or the ball, squeeze, 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 squeeze. If you don't, you can still do the isometric squeeze. Pull the shoulders down, spin the shoulders open, flatten the spine. Now squeeze and hold whatever that thing is that you're holding. Then roll the spine down. So curl the tailbone under, round the low back. Release and stretch as you come up. So arms forward, flatten the spine. Exhale, squeeze, hold. Now roll down. Oh, I don't know, 3/4 of the way back. Release and stretch as you come up. So your body's coming up and over like the crest of a wave. Exhale. I guess I joked around that we're starting out here at a beach today. I think we all need a little bit of a vacation. When do you not need a vacation? Have you ever said that? I don't need a vacation. But we definitely do after all we've been through. Squeeze and roll. So again, most of Pilates isn't in the building. We're not really making big muscles, or we're not eating, we're not collecting more and more materials like water and oxygen. Most Pilates is in training the muscle that we have, all the elements that we have, the energies that we have, and leaning out those muscles. Muscles that are big and bulky don't move. Some people are surprised by that. They think, well, I have all this muscle. Why can't I now do this thing that I want to do? Because your muscle can literally get in your way. It actually prevents mobility. So, you have to create that balance. What is it you need or want to do? And then have the right amount of muscle for that. But in Pilates, we're working on leaning out the muscle. That means the muscle's growing longer and thinner. Okay, I'd like you to come all the way down this time, all the way to the floor. Still hold on to whatever's in your hand. Roll the shoulder blades onto the back. All I want you to do is, if you can, squeeze, if it's a ring, squeeze or ball, squeeze it, and lift the arms up overhead and then drag them back. Okay, so you have a ring, this is like the best. This is the best exercise. If you have a ring, the ball still works, but if you have a ring, it's the best, because when you drag the arm back and you're squeezing the ring, you're activating those serratus anterior muscles. These are the ones that I keep talking about that you're saying, I'm not really sure what they are. They are hard to find because they're so deep and in towards the rib cage. So we're calling this like super pullover. Now I want you to focus. Let's say you don't have the ring and you're not squeezing so hard. That's okay. I want you to focus on hollowing out the abdominals. Keep the back of the neck long and hollow out. So we're doing a good job today of burning. Energy, when it's burned in the body, we call that a calorie. So that's like a magic word. If I told you we're burning calories, you'd feel better about this whole thing. But really what we're doing is we're burning energy, or we're integrating all the cells of the body into functional fitness. 2 more times. So we build, then we train, and then we lean. This time just leave whatever this is just straight up over your chest. We're going to levitate the knees. All right. If you don't want to hold on to this thing, by all means, put it down and put your hands on the floor, because anchoring is important. Point the toes so that your feet look like, they're, well, they're pointed, I guess. We're going to dip one toe in the pool and then the other. Notice that your knee stays at the same right angle, 90-degree bend. So you're only moving the leg bone in the hip socket. So kind of get that their hinge is at the hip here. All right, keep pulling the shoulders onto the floor. Keep hollowing out the abdominals. So I don't know if the first thing I said was breathe. I think it was. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. That's the most important thing. If you spent these 40 minutes, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, you'd still be getting a pretty good burn session. Not to mention, you're calming the central nervous system, which is not easy to do. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you couldn't calm down, but the breath can usually be very effective at doing that. 3, 2, and 1. All right, if you have a ring or the ball, put that between the knees and put the arms down. A block kind of will work, but not quite as much here. We're going to draw the knees in and then bring both feet down. All right, your choice. If you have something that's movable, like a squishy ring, squeeze in, release when you go out. Exhale in, inhale out. Exhale in, inhale out. Exhale, maintain the Pilates scoop. Maintain length in the back of the spine the whole time. Good. You may notice that, we do these sessions here together. I go a little bit faster than I do in like real life. And that's just because, well, there's a lot of like little social things going on that you might not be aware of, but it's changing how we're interacting. Do 3 more. I'm feeling those inner thighs. Inhale, exhale, brace and contract the lower abdominals. And then we'll put the ring or the block or the thing down. Draw one knee in, stretch the other leg out, pause there. Just take the stretch. After 3 or 4 breaths, now these breaths are long and relaxing. These are almost Shavasana breaths. That's not really a thing, but I thought I'd say that. All right, switch legs. After we get done with this leg, I just want to give you a little preview that we're going to do the one leg stretch is like the quintessential Pilates exercise because it's really important to learn about flow and fluidity. What psychologists are learning is that when your mind is in a state of flow, that means that it's working and it's really consumed in doing the thing that you're doing. You know, that there's no stress, there's no, complications and stoppages. That's happiness. So what is happiness? It's flow. So let's first train the body to flow. All right, one leg stretch. Some of you are already there knowing exactly what we're going to do. That means one leg is in while one leg is out. Other leg is hovering. This leg you're either holding at the knee and the shin or extending up and holding behind the thigh, the knee, or the calf. I'm going to hold at the shin here. You can lift your head up and drop your chin down and hollow out the belly. If you're not used to Pilates, probably leave your head down. Inhale. Now as you exhale, switch legs where the only thing that's moving is the legs. Exhale, switch legs. Inhale. Exhale, switch legs. Inhale. Every time you exhale now, move. All right, fluidity. We're working on fluidity in this one leg stretch. That you're smoothly moving the muscles. What has to happen for that to happen is not necessarily what they call mind, muscle, memory, whatever that term is. What really has to happen is that all the nerves of your body have to be firing in a flow themselves. And the only way you do that is by one of the first Pilates principles, and that is concentration. 3, concentrate on fluidity. 2, concentrate on how the body is moving. And 1, come all the way down. I haven't lifted my head up in a while, so I felt that. Isn't that interesting? You don't lift your head up and you feel that. Let's lift both legs straight up. Press the back of the heels together. All we're going to do now is squeeze the abdominals. Hey, if you have the ball, this would be an opportunity. So I just want to give you the ability to add. If you had the ball, you might want to put the ball under your sacrum, under, kind of your hips there. Otherwise, that's fine where you are. You don't really get much out of putting a block under there. It has to be the ball, or a bosu if you knew what that was. Press the heels together, spin the leg bones open. All we're going to do is bring the knees and the heels down and straight up. Now, if you're on the ball, you've already got more than you can handle. So I want you to focus on staying still. You know what I mean? Not wobbling to and fro. If you're not on the ball, so I'll come down. If you're not on the ball, I want you to focus on flow. Keeping the legs moving in like a dancer's way. It's like all the joints of the body are collaborating. There's the word. All the joints of the body are collaborating. Exhale, scoop the belly down into the back. Exhale, scoop the belly down into the back. Keep the shoulders pinned behind, onto the floor. So don't be wobbling up off the floor. 2 more. 2 and 1. Now, like a fish's tail, if you're on the ball, probably don't go down as low. Drop the legs down a little bit away from you. Maybe bend the knees. Point the toes and then lift the legs back up. So flex the feet back. Remember, we're digging the heels together. Drop the legs away from you. As soon as you start feeling your low back begin to move, stop. Point the toes, squeeze the abdominals, and come back up. What I want you to work, and this it's actually called like mermaid's tail or something, is work on anchoring. Anchor the parts of the body down into the floor. So notice if like your shoulder or part of your hip starts to sort of lift up off the floor. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Push the heels together. Actively participate with the body. What I said, what you need for flow. Remember I said flow is happiness. Psychologists are finding out that when your mind is actively engaged in doing something and it's going well, that's another way to say it, right? It's going well. You know, like when you're shopping and you're finding things you want to buy and they're a good price, you know, that's flow. When that's happening, that's happiness. That's what the mind creates, the sensation of contentment or happiness. 2 more times. So we're making the body connected to that flow. Good. And then when you're ready, hug the knees into the chest. If you have the ball, this would be a good time to come off the ball and just hug the knees to the chest. All right, so I said we had to build muscle, so we're going to move into that phase in a moment. And then we have to educate the muscle. We've been doing that the whole time. In fact, the very first breath we took was educating the respiratory muscles. And they're the most important muscles of all, I guess. Do 3 breaths that reach all the parts of your back. Imagine your back is like sucking in energy. So all the tissues of the back, you know, all those parts you can't really reach when you're trying to like wash and dry your back, all of those pieces and those parts that you're not normally aware of. I'm going to encourage you now. I invite you to come all the way up. You might do that through a rounding and rolling, or you may roll to your side. Let's come to hands and knees again. Good work today, huh? I'm going to turn this way. Good work. Hands and knees. We're going to practice with the fingers pressing down, turning the toes and lifting the knees and down. Lift the knees. Okay, here's another option. If you have the ball, put the ball between the knees and lift. And you're like tapping the ball up and down. It's like a ball tap. I think the ring's a little bit wide for this exercise. It probably could be done. All right, if you have the ball there or even a small blanket, what's good about it is it's sort of refocusing your mind. So props in yoga and Pilates are good because they refocus your mind. In fact, in classic Pilates, it's all about the machines. The Pilates machines are really doing the movement, and you're just directing them with your mind. This is a really interesting concept. 4, keep your body moving, you know, like a river, that flow. Come up and hold this time. Can you hold, can you hold, can you hold? And then release. If you have the ball, this is time to take out the ball. Come down to the forearms. Just pause. I want to give you a moment to sort of analyze the shoulder girdle. Remember, we have that bone. Spin the head of it out. So it's almost like if you had a block, you would be squeezing the elbows together into it. And as the elbows come in, the head of the arms go out like a seesaw or a lever. So just think about that. Think about the head of the arm bone spinning open and the fingers and the forearms pressing down. Then walk either the knees back or the arms forward until you're in a knee plank. So take a second to figure out, where do hips go? Do they go all the way down or do they go all the way up? So find a place somewhere in the middle of those 2 extremes where your abs just had to create now a basket, because your lumbar spine would break. It would not break, you know, classic sense of break a bone, but it would make like a bend. It would bend. There's a word. So the abs are preventing that bending of the low back. Your choice, stay on the knees or turn the toes and lift up. Same thing. Where does your hips go? Do they go down? Do they go up? Do they go somewhere in between? Keep the back of the back broad. Back of the back broad. Try coming to a side plank. So walk one elbow up underneath your chest and then turn onto the sides of the knees or the sides of the feet. Keeping the shoulder just as broad and as strong as it just was before. Give this 3 breaths. Now, if you're down on the floor with arms and legs a flailing, okay. That's okay. Just keep coming back again and again. Let's try switching to the other side. So what I do is I twist, get the elbow good and underneath the body, down low, down towards kind of your belly, not up over your head. Turn to the side and just hold. Keep integrating the muscles. Again, and in a way, I almost hope you're falling because you get experience from failing. You get experience by learning how to redirect. Like, so you drive off the road, you have to drive back onto the road. That's how you learn how to drive straight. Come back to forearm plank. So walk back onto the forearms. I want to give this 3 or 4 more breaths. I have some strong people with me here today. So if you feel like you're not one of the strong people, it's their fault, not mine. And then push back into child's pose. Let's take some deeper breaths now. I want you to practice. I'm going to say Pilates breath. In Pilates, there's concentration, control, and centering. Those really have to do with what we call the powerhouse, this energy center that's creating the energy, and then we do something with that energy. Then there's this fluidity we've been talking about, the movements that matters. The precision that your movement is trying, and then really, I'm going to say it's the most important one, but I'm going to say that about all of them, the breathing. So Pilates breath is about expanding, using the particles of the air and the pressure of the air in the lungs to scrub the interior surfaces of the lungs. Just like if you're going to wash a pot, you'd have to really fill it up with a lot of water. You wouldn't use just a little bit of water, just a little bit in the bottom. You get the whole thing filled up. You scrub it around. And then, of course, you're going to get all of that dirty water out. So make sure you inhale completely. Almost like you're holding your breath for a moment. And let it go. I don't really mean hold your breath. I just mean work hard. Good. Let's try coming up. All right, so keep breathing. Keep breathing. Don't give up the breath. Spread the fingers out. I'm going to ask you to come to downward dog if that's something for you. I'm talking this week about energy and how energy moves in the body. Now, energy burning. So that means we're going to move around. It does relate to your circulatory system, and your circulatory system has fluid, aka water, in it, right? And water is very affected by gravity. Water is heavy, in other words. So when we go upside down, some of our energy systems change just because we're upside down. 3 breaths, keeping the heads of the arm bones spun out and open, and the back of the back very broad. And then walk forward. When you're ready now, bend your knees and come up into a chair pose. So hips pulling in, shoulders pulling back. We're going to try lifting the heels up and down, up and down. All right, this is too much, right? You stay, with the heels down, and you figure out your chair like that. All right, do notice that as you go up and down, you're rolling more towards the big toe and the second toe than towards the little toe. Keep the chest broad, keep the abs pulled in. Remember, breathe in and out. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the heels down, come all the way up, extend up and back. 3, inhale, exhale. 2, and then inhale up. Just release the arms. I'm going to turn and face you so I can show turning the leg bones out. So do that for a second. Then walk the heels a little together. If you have the ball, grab the ball and put that between the back of the inner thighs. If you don't, that's okay. So if you have the ball, you're just going to go kind of squeeze and kind of release. Squeeze, release. Now I really want you to zipper inward and upward. If you don't have the ball, then go a little bit further in and a little bit further out. So go bigger range of motion. So there's a time to use the equipment, there's a time not to. I said, if you can, use the equipment. So I'm going to use the ball here. Squeeze. So really keep pulling all the internal zippers inward and upward. So training the muscle. We just did a couple of plank poses. I know you noticed. That was building muscle, building strength, building even power a little bit. Now we're going to train that to squeeze in and get more energy out of what we're doing. Squeeze and lift in. So keep growing taller and taller. So, however tall you are, add an inch the next time, add an inch the next time. Let's take the arms out and in front. And so the hands are touching. So open and close. Whatever makes sense to you here. Open and close. Pinch the shoulders together. Squeeze the abs in. I'm going to say about 10 more of these. This ball is giving me a really good workout. Squeeze the abs in. Squeeze. Keep the shoulders down. Squeeze. So about 4 more. Exhale. Exhale. Last one. Squeeze and hold. I'm going to say take the ball out. Even if you have the ball, if you don't have the ball, take a step a little bit out. And we're going to do the same thing we did a moment ago. So first zip in, hold in. We're going to lift the heels and down. Lift. So a little bend in the knee. We're in a little bit of semi-plie here. Lift and down. Lift and down. Lift. Down. Squeeze the core. So keep finding those, find another layer of muscle to train. So a lot of times our body intuitively finds the easiest and the simplest way of doing something. It takes all these shortcuts. 4, 3. So find the abs here. Make the abs do this work. Lift and hold, lift and hold, lift and hold. Now little pulses down, 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 down. My arms are uneven. Down, down, down. Feeling the legs, feeling the abs, feeling the pelvic floor muscles, feeling the glutes. Feel everything. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Inhale. And 1. Ah. Let's flow. Inhale and circle up. Exhale and reach up and back. Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold. Come all the way down. Let's come down to a seat. And we're going to try just one more reverse plank, and then it'll be time to stretch everything out. So reverse plank is exactly what it says. It's plank. We're just going the other way. Hands behind the shoulders, I guess under the shoulders. Spin the arms a little bit out. Pull the shoulders onto the back and down. Maybe start with your feet up under your knees and start there. As you exhale, press through both feet evenly. Press through the fingers. See if you can lift your hips up so the chin stays down and the body's trying to get straight. Maybe walk 1 foot further out, 1 foot further out. Maybe come to the heels and push the heels into the floor. Really working the back body. We often ignore our back body. You notice that? And we often ignore it, until you see it in the mirror and you say, hey, what's that doing there? 3. If you're in what we call tabletop, where your feet are underneath you, that's cool. 2 and 1. Come all the way down. Let's take the legs a little bit wide. Slide the hip bones back. Inhale, circle up. Exhale, extend back. We're just going to do a forward fold, and that's it. So hinge forward and down. So just take a nice stretch. We just work the back of the legs. I know you feel this stretch. Don't put any pressure on this low back. So sometimes I remind myself by putting my hand on that sacrum, and that reminds me to not let that round too much. I'm just trying to push the top of the pelvis forward. And Anything that happens from the top of the pelvis up is just gravity helping. We did a really good job today. We integrated functional movements. You might not think that hands and knees and all that mattered, but let me tell you, I was out there weeding. I used all of those movements, and I was glad to have them. We burned a lot of energy. We warmed up the blood. We built more tissue, but we lengthened and leaned it out at the same time. So there's only one step left, and that is to rest, to bring that all together. So you should be feeling pretty good now. In fact, right at this moment when I'm about to say Shavasana, you love when I say that. So let's come down to Shavasana. Shavasana. All right, let the whole body become still. So slow down. Even the breath's movements. Release energy. Breath by breath. More and more. Relaxed, flowing, but powerful. Breath by breath. More and more. Your entire body experiences the strength of flow. Inhale, let it go. Inhale, just let it go. Slowly roll onto your side. Open your eyes. Begin to press up and back off of the floor up and into a seated pose. Whenever you're ready, inhale and stretch up. Exhale and lean over. Inhale and lift up. And exhale to lean over. Inhale, come all the way up, grow a bit taller now, lengthen up the sides. And then pull the shoulders down and bring the arms down. You're all done. Fantastic job, everyone.